Well, today we continue to remember the day that changed Buffalo forever, the racist Tops mass shooting 3 years ago today when 10 people were killed, 3 others were wounded.
The convicted killer had combed through social media in planning that violent act on May 14th, 2022. The role of social media is the focus of a lawsuit in the courts right now. To talk more about that, we are joined by attorney Kristen Elmore Garcia, who represents some of the victims' families. Kristen, thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yep.
First, let's backtrack a little bit. Remind everyone out there what exactly this lawsuit is and where it stands today.
I'd be happy to. There are a few lawsuits all working together representing most of the victims of that day. These cases are pending in Erie County Supreme Court. However, there was a decision that was made last year by the Honorable Judge Paula Fiorilletto in response to the defendants making a motion to dismiss our lawsuit. Judge Fiorilletto denied those motions to dismiss, and the defendants have appealed that decision. So our next stage of litigation, which takes place on May 20th, Tuesday, May 20th, at the Appellate Division, which is a court in Rochester, a 3-judge panel in Rochester will be reviewing that decision. The defendants will have a chance to appeal. And the parties that will be heard on May 20th are not just the social media companies, but also a company by the name of Mean LLC, which manufactured a very small device that we believe was negligently marketed through false and deceptive practices. It was utilized on the weapon.
And let's also name some of those defendants as well. You had mentioned about that weapons accessory company, but also we're talking about the largest social media giants in the world when we're talking about Google, YouTube, Meta, Facebook, so 4chan as well, Reddit. Can you talk about the aspect of what you're trying to accomplish with this civil lawsuit?
I'd be happy to. At this particular stage of the lawsuit, all we want to do is to keep the case alive. We believe that our summons and complaint is more than thorough, well documented, the claims against the big name defendants like you named, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon being the parent company to a popular streaming platform, Twitch. We believe that this decision is based on, is our complaint sufficient to keep the case going? And the legal question the judges have to answer is, do we have any viable complaint in our very large 150-page summons and complaint? We believe we've met this very, very low bar standard for this particular stage of the case, and I'm confident and have success that will continue.
But you've also said, and other attorneys have said, that these companies, they've made the social media platforms too addicting, and that this particular person, Peyton Gendron, was addicted by the content that he was able to see on social media, and you want to have limits put in place. Isn't that correct as well?
Our goal is to make the internet safer, and from there, really make our country safer. The truth is, these mega corporations have one goal in mind when creating their product. The product that you see and utilize every day is the social media platforms. They have the goal to keep you locked in to the platform as long as possible. And what keeps people locked in is not the same type of content that gives you the warm and fuzzies. It's the type of things that kind of disturb you, really itch that disturbing part of your brain, keep you going for more and more. They have teams of psychologists, product development specialists who look at very comprehensive user data and determine what has the biggest hook. So when you go online and you search, you're not necessarily going to see content that piques your interest. If you're an animal lover, you might actually see more animal abuse. If you are a young person who's experiencing any sort of depression and loneliness, the hook is not going to be content that makes you feel better about yourself. It's going to be feeding into that sort of depression. So they have a very heavily addictive product, and we believe that if they had simply made their products safer with the safety in mind of all of the millions of users that access their products daily, that this unfortunate situation would have never happened here in Buffalo.
You know, today we find ourselves 3 years since that tragic shooting. From the legal side of things, in these 3 years, what would you say the little victories have been, and really what those small victories mean to the families you represent?
I can tell you that we've had more than just a small victory. Winning that initial motion to dismiss that was decided last year in February was a major win. That represented the first lawsuit of its kind in the country that was allowed to proceed, holding social media companies accountable for their role in a mass shooting. On May 20th, the court's going to be considering what we call many issues of first impression, meaning no other court has decided many of these questions across the country, and it's certainly within our state.
So this upcoming court hearing, that's going to be in Rochester. Is there the potential that this is something that could go to a even higher court, maybe potentially to the U.S. Supreme Court?
There will be a 3-judge panel hearing the matters on Tuesday. If there's not a unanimous decision, then both parties would have an opportunity to appeal. Like I said, I believe that our summons and complaint is more than sufficient to meet the standard we're required to at this stage, which is, again, do we have any viable claims? We've done our research. We believe that these claims have strong foundation, and we've documented them appropriately.
It certainly is a story we will continue following. Kristen Elmore Garcia, thank you so much for coming in and giving us your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.